Hello, Attorney Ummi here. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel today. So in one of my previous videos, I talked about how you name guardians for your minor children and other things to keep in mind, like making sure that you do it name guardians outside of your will. Today, I want to talk about some things you need to keep in mind when naming guardians and when choosing guardians for your minor children. Okay, let's dive in. What I'm going to do today is share some things. I want to share 7 things with you that I want you to keep in mind when you're deciding who should be guardians for your children. And the first thing I want to talk about is if you have couples named as guardians for your children, make sure you have made it very clear what you want to happen if one of the people becomes incapacitated or dies, or if they break up. So if they get divorced and they're not together anymore, do you want one person to keep raising your children, or what do you want to happen at that point? Be sure you make that very clear. Okay, so the second thing I want to talk about, I want you to keep in mind when you name guardians for your children is to make sure you name more than one potential client. Remember I just talked about when you name couples, one of them can pass away. Well, in that case, if you don't want just one person raising your kids, you have a backup plan so that next potential guardian can step in and be in charge of your kids. The third thing I want to share with you that you should keep in mind when naming guardians for your children is to avoid taking financial resources into consideration. So the guardians for your children should not be, and they do not have to make financial decisions or be financially responsible for your children. You need to make sure you leave enough money behind for your children to be taken care of when you're gone. The fourth thing you should keep in mind is the financial resources that should be used for your children when you're not here should be something that you set up for your children. So you can do that by creating a trust or just setting up some sort of estate plan that would allow your agent or anyone else you would want to name to be financially responsible for your children. That way a judge is not deciding what happens to the money you leave behind or how your children have access to that money. The fifth thing you should keep in mind is to make sure you exclude anyone you do not want raising your children from being a guardian, and you should make sure that you do that in writing. All right, so the sixth thing I want to talk about is to make sure you make arrangement for short-term guardians. If you want to learn a little bit more about short-term guardians, watch my other video that I did about naming guardians for your children, so that you can learn more about short-term guardians. But basically your short-term guardians would be there to take care of your children before the long-term guardians are able to step in and be in charge of your children. For example, when you're incapacitated, before you pass away, you need your short-term guardians to be able to step in and take care of your children. The seventh and last thing I want you to keep in mind when naming guardians for your children is to name your guardians in a separate and freestanding document, not just in your will. And the reason is because if you name your guardians in a will alone, your kids, it would be hard for you to change your nomination, first of all, and your kids could be left waiting for your will to basically be admitted into probate before their guardians can take care of them. If you would like to learn how you can choose the guardians for your children, then sign up for my free workshop coming up using the link down below about how to choose a guardian for your minor children, and you will receive all the details and how to join in. If you have found this video helpful, feel free to share it with your family and friends, and let me know in the comments what you liked the most about it. I will see you next time.